Hey, welcome to my channel where I talk about my dolls, and that's literally it. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing all my American Girl dolls of the Joss mold, Makena mold, and Corinne mold, which means it's my second last video in the series because there's only one mold after this one. And the reason I'm cramming 3 dolls into one is because a couple of them only have a very few dolls, so they would be very quick videos. And I'm going to start with the doll who not only came out first in the year 2020, she also has the most releases, and I have all of the dolls of all these 3 molds. So let me start, as I was saying, with Joss, which is my second favorite mold out of all of the American Girl molds. And the thing that's going to be funny about this video is I have a lot of dolls who are not wearing their signature outfits. It's winter, and as I get to each doll, I'll explain why they're wearing their not normal outfit. And I literally just changed Joss into, this is a Maple Leaf outfit. It's the boots and purse aren't part of it, but they match with it really well, and I think they're shown with it on the website. So she's wearing it because her world in my display takes place outside, so it looked really funny that she was basically up there in short shorts and a bathing suit. So this is, as I said, obviously the first of this mold that came out, and she's the only one who really looks super young because they didn't give her any of the painted on eyelashes, and she's the only one they didn't do that with. And she also has more of like an innocent look with the way her eyebrows are painted on. And as I bring up the other girls to compare them, or just, show them side by side, you'll see there is quite a difference in their expression. And I would say out of the Joss dolls, she's probably because of that, for that reason, and again, I love her because that's my favorite mold, second favorite mold. She's probably my least favorite of the Joss dolls, just because she looks the most, when they don't have painted on eyelashes to me, side by side, it makes her look a little bit more, not tired, but she looks a little less cheerful and vibrant. So right away, I'll bring out a doll who is very painted. And it was the second doll released, and this is Maritza, who is part of the World by Us line. And unfortunately, I have her dressed as Barbie, the Barbie night look. And obviously this is a new outfit, so I've recently dressed her up as this, but I don't have her meat outfit anyway, and her purse is acting a fool. It stayed on the whole time I've had her displayed with it, but now she wants to act funny. Fine. And then bring her closer, I'll put it back on her later. I don't have her meat outfit because I don't really love the outfit. And after she sold out, because they put the World by Us dolls on sale about this time last year, maybe a little bit earlier, and she was the first to sell out of that batch. So out of the group, as I was saying, you can see that she's got a little bit more of a stern expression, maybe sassy looking, and the painted on eyelashes. So she just looks more mature than Joss herself. And even though she's a medium skin tone doll, I don't have another doll who has a very comparable skin tone. To me, she seems very unique. And she's obviously unique with this beautiful wig she's got on with, it's dark, but with a lot of like little highlights in it that you could probably see on the camera as I'm turning it around. And so the reason I ended up buying her is I was kind of passing on her when I first started collecting, or not first started collecting, but when I was, let's say, closing in on all the dolls I didn't have, because I was trying to look for reasons not to buy certain dolls, to keep your numbers as low as possible until, before you know it, you're living in a dollhouse. And because I didn't love her meat outfit, although the doll was very beautiful, like there's something I can't put my finger on about her face being so pretty and almost like lifelike, I was able to pass on her because of her outfit. And then when she sold out, I did have a little bit of FOMO, and I was like, oh, now I can't, having decided Joss was my favorite mold before Claudie became a mold and she was just a doll. Having decided this was my favorite mold, I was a little sad that I couldn't complete it now, because after she sold out, of course, she was going for really expensive, for almost twice the price on the secondary market, because that's just how we get when things first sell out. People get excited. But then I'm in Canada, someone within my province, so not a very far, let's say, trip for shipping, was selling this doll very shortly after she sold out without her outfit. And I guess the seller didn't realize how expensive she was going for at the time, so it was an amazing price. I think it was she was about 80 Canadian, which is probably, math off the top of my head, 55 to 60 US. So she was really cheap. Even if I had gotten her at that price before she sold out, it would have been a pretty good, it would have been a great deal, particularly because I didn't love her maid outfit. And so now she's, as I said, when I did the Barbie limited edition outfit unboxings, I wanted to kind of give my own version of the three dolls from the Barbie world back in the 80s, which was the white Barbie, the black Barbie, and the Hispanic Barbie. That's what they called them. That's how they're cataloged from the time. And I couldn't get her hair to cooperate, but I did want to show her in this outfit. So now the opportunity arose. It's coincidence. I didn't like plan it out this way. So here she is. This is my version of what you would call Hispanic or what they would have called Hispanic Barbie. It's Maritza in the nighttime fashion. And let's see if she'll hold on to this weird rubbery purse. Because, like I said, she has not given me an issue until right now. She's had it for ever since I opened it. Oh, she's going to hold it like that. And if it falls again, she doesn't want to wear it. And nope, she doesn't go on this side. And so the next couple dolls that came out of the Joss mold were Truly Me dolls that were released, I think in 2022 they came out. And the first one is Truly Me 121, who is definitely one of my top favorite dolls. And it's so funny that when I started showing her recently, I talked about how I haven't shown her a lot on my channel. And now all of a sudden she's in like 3-4 videos in a row pretty much. And because, as I said, I've been putting dolls in more wintry clothes because of the weather here. It's so cold. So I gave her, I swapped out her, she was wearing sandals for some Maple Leaf boots and socks. And then this is a pair of CYO jeans. But anyway, as I said, Truly Me 121, and I've named her Efrat. And I haven't really had a chance to get into her story, but it's a very personal, long one. So that's why I'm trying not to bore people with it when I'm just, trying to stay on track with whatever I'm talking about. And the few times that I've shown her recently, all of a sudden. And then her sort of sister, Truly Me doll, is 122. I hope I'm saying the numbers right. I think I am. now I'm doubting myself. Anyway, so as you can see, I put her in some Maple Leaf clothes as well. These are Sage's pants from her sweater outfit, which Maritza would normally be wearing, but she's dressed as Barbie, so at least she has some pants to wear. And so as you can see, she's got a medium skin tone as well, but I'm going to put her next to Maritza, and you're going to see they're not similar in medium skin tone, at least as far as my eyeballs can tell. So yeah, I've got her dressed up for winter. Her character in my world, her name is Aisha. She's because I live in Canada, and a few years back we had a lot of Syrian refugees move to Canada. I'm not saying she's in Canada necessarily, because the Joss's world is sort of this weird fictional place that exists somewhere just in North America. It doesn't matter where. It's beachy and mountainous, so wherever that would be. And so she's a Syrian, like her family would be Syrian refugees, and that's her story. And feel like she's got this weird hairstyle because when she moved, to North America, she wanted to sort of fit in more. And so that's why one day I might re-wig her with something black or darker or whatever. Just, it's not that I hate the wig. It's just now that I've started talking about her wig in the last couple of videos that I've shown her, I'm like, maybe I wonder if she'd look even cuter if she had just hair that I prefer. But for now, this is a big part of her identity. And the next two dolls that came out from the Joss mold, I feel like I'm really flying through this, and I shouldn't be because there aren't that many to show. But the next two dolls to come out were the Millennium twins, the 1990s twins. The Hoffman twins, I guess is what you would really call them. So the first one I'll show is Isabel. I guess I'm showing her because out of the two sisters, she's my least favorite, so save the best for last whenever possible. And I would assume most people know by now she's at least she's very Clueless, heavily inspired by Clueless, and I have her skirt really hiked up. I'm looking at the monitor. Ooh, okay, that's better a little bit. So she's one of those dolls that when I first started collecting, I never thought I would add to my list just because of, the very kind of typical blonde doll. Blonde's not a very common hair color, but when you collect dolls, you would think it's the most common hair color on the planet. So I just, to me, as some little kids have blonde hair, don't get me wrong. I had really blonde hair when I was little too, but that's why I feel like dolls, I like to look a bit more like I like to have my dolls reflect the real world around me. But then, as I said, dolls grow on you more and more, and because this became my favorite mold at the time, I realized I wanted to have all of them. But I did start with Nikki, and then I realized she's really pretty too, and that pop of green in her eyes that I think I can only think of one Girl of Today doll who had them. I don't remember what her number was, but she had like brown hair. And Felicity and Isabel. There must be more who have had these eyes, but that's the only ones that come to my mind. And yeah, so since I've had her, and she's I've built a world around, like a collection world around the twins. They have become, like, I say among my favorites, but I say that every time I talk about my dolls. She's one of my favorites. but she would be, just not as much as her sister, Nikki. Because out of the two twins, Nikki is the one I relate to the most. Because when I was, like, I see these dolls a little bit older, like more like 16. I relate to her style because I would have dressed a bit more like this when I was around that age and around the same time. That, if you age them up a little bit to be how old they look or appear with their fashion sense, then I feel like, yeah, I definitely would have related a lot more to Nikki. And I've actually talked about her quite a bit in videos on my channel. So I don't know if I have anything new related to say about her at this point, but I've put her in a mishmash of my favorite pieces from her meet outfit and her skateboarding outfit, to the point where I often forget what goes with what. But so I think with putting these pieces together, it's the best way to cover her neck, or that neck joint. And yeah, just, I feel like I would have had this exact outfit when I was her age. In fact, I think I actually have this vest. And I always wore a hat. So oddly enough, the newest doll of the Joss mold is almost like saving the best for last, just because she's very unique. And as I mentioned, have been changing a lot of my dolls for winter. So Anna is currently dressed literally for Christmas. And she's another one who's in a Maple Leaf outfit. But this is like, after I thought about it, this I realized was the perfect outfit for Anna, even if you think about her story, because she spends a lot of her time with Sven, uh, the reindeer from Frozen. And this is, they call it the Oh Dear reindeer outfit, I think. And then I put the buckskin boots on her just because it looked better than the fur boots that I usually pair with this outfit. But this is a new outfit, so I'm talking like, I always do it, but it's just like the doll who had it on before. I realized One thing I realized very recently is I don't want to have, aside from Tiana, I don't want to have any like Disney dolls in my collection. They just stand out in a weird way. They don't really suit my display, the feng shui of my doll room. So I've recently even taken to selling off the extra outfits from the dolls, especially my Tiana dolls, because I have so many. And so I've realized that, yes, this is very Anna. Sorry, they say Anna in the movie. Did I call her Anna when I first brought her out? That's a friend's name. So I've realized that even though this is very Anna, her character, I really won't be dressing her as Anna. But I won't change her names. Her name will still be Anna in my collection. I just won't dress her in any of the Frozen clothes unless it's like for a costume kind of moment. And so, yeah, I think I didn't explain enough, even though I've talked about her a lot and most people know by now. She has her own unique skin tone. I think it's probably the second palest. I think it's a little bit paler than Cinderella, but not as pale as Elsa, who is the palest so far. And I don't know if you can see from there that she's got like a cute freckle pattern, and she was a lot more popular than Elsa, even though they made more of Elsa. And I think just Elsa's generally more popular of a character and a bigger seller. But she is so versatile, as in like you can dress her many different ways, more than you can with Elsa, and have her look like real. And I think she's also a really good doll to choose if you want to have an Anne of Green Gables doll, which in almost every doll line I've ever collected, people love doing Anne of Green Gables customs. And as a Canadian, I always thought it was like, I always thought Anne of Green Gables was, popular here. We had to read it in school growing up. It's just because it's a Canadian story. But then it turns out in every doll community I've been in, people love Anne of Green Gables. I don't understand the connection between Anne of Green Gables and doll collecting. But I'm sure they're probably porcelain dolls. But it's just funny to think that people love to dress up their American Girls or even Rainbow High dolls, Disney dolls. They just love making Anne of Green Gable dolls. So now this is the 7. I hope you can see them all, kind of comparing them to see how they look together, because I'm about to take the Joss dolls out and go on to Makena, because even though I said there aren't enough dolls to do an entire video for each one of them, I still would like to show them all. I would just like to separate the dolls and, kind of show them, give them their own spotlight. So let me get Joss out of here and bring in Makena. I probably should have warned you that I'd be a lot closer when it came back, because with fewer dolls to show, I don't need as much space. And I do like showing the dolls closer up. Which means I'm moving on to Makena, who was released as part of the World by Us collection in 2021. And so far, there have only been 2 dolls of hers, both of which I have, because I'm sure most people do. So let me just get started with Makena herself. And I have her meet outfit and accessories, but because she and Maritza are currently dressed as Barbie dolls together, I didn't feel like changing her back just for this. Plus, you know, she's had some time to settle into her outfit, and I think it's really cute. But let me bring the doll close up to show you. She's got, out of the two Makena dolls, she's got, to me, she does look a lot better. And I think if I had gotten her first, I'm not sure I would have gotten Truly Me 123, which will show in a quick second. Because Makena, the hairstyle is really, really cute and it's unique. She's the only one with these protective twists in her hair. And in my, I would imagine she has a 35 skin tone, and you know what? Let me just bring over 123 so I can compare them, because I'm going to keep doing it as if like, as if she's here. So let me move on quickly to Truly Me 123, who is named Tiffany in my collection. And usually when I show Tiffany, because up until I was going to record this video, I had her in the strawberry shortcake onesie from Courtney's collection. And as much as I absolutely love those pajamas, and you know, it makes me like she's so snugly in it. Not that I snuggle my dolls because I don't want to ruin them, but I wanted to show her awake, I guess you could say, because she's always in bed whenever I show her. And so this is a little, it's kind of what was left over of Courtney's collection, to be honest, because I have all of Courtney's pieces, and so it was just, I thought if you have Courtney's TV that comes with the fitness set, there's a music video in it, and that doll from that music video has very similar hair. So I thought I could kind of recreate that look, but with a far inferior outfit. It's all I had left. And so now I want to kind of compare them side by side, because I have to imagine, I haven't looked into it because I'm not really doing a video about skin tones, but Makena seems to have the 35 skin tone, the deepest one. And then I would say that 123 has the 30 skin tone. And it's nothing to do with the skin tone that makes Makena pretty or anything like that. There's just something in their faces to me that looks very different. And it could be the actual 123 I have. It's the way her eyes sit. So if you look at the way her eyes are, there's a lot of white showing under the irises, which to me, it just makes, I don't know, it makes her eyes look like they droop in a funny way that Makena herself doesn't have. And this isn't me hating on 123, by the way. I'm just trying to show point out the differences I've noticed between the two dolls. And so what I was saying earlier is, if I had gotten Makena first out of these two dolls at a time when I thought, oh, I'll have at least one of every mold, and in some molds, that'll be all I have is one. Yeah, I really believe that at one point. You have to convince yourself, otherwise you'll get overwhelmed. And so I think if I'd started with her, I probably wouldn't have gotten Tiffany, even though I would have wanted, you know what, who am I kidding? I probably would have gotten her. Just, I don't know if I would have liked her a little bit better if I'd gotten her second. I don't know, you know, sometimes the newer doll you just feel the newness kind of is more magical than the doll I've already looked at her for like 6 months longer than her. But I still think that most people at first glance would still think Makena is nicer, and that 123 could have had a little bit more variation, because there's not too much difference, but the subtle differences, and I could just be the way my doll it was manufactured, that makes her not necessarily look different, but look a little less cute. Even though she's adorable, a little less cute than Makena herself. And I think I've talked these two into the ground, because there've only been two dolls so far, and she would have come out in 2022 as well, right? I wrote it down. Well, I didn't write it down when she came out, but I think it would have been 2022, because that's when because the dolls that I'm showing here, the Truly Me's, are from Truly Me 2021 up to 2023, like they're, you know, in a row. No, up to 2024, who will be in the next batch when I bring up my Corinne dolls. And you know what? Because I've said enough, I think I am just going to move on to the Corinne mold dolls, who I don't need to cut to bring back, because I'm already close enough that I had them hidden. So here's Corinne, who debuted this mold in 2022 as the Girl of the Year. And she's a winter themed doll, so she's dressed in her ski outfit all year round. I just took off some of her, I took off her, is it called a helmet? Is that what you wear when you go skiing on your head? I think it's called a helmet. And I took off her skis, just so you could see her a little bit better, because, you know, if you're comparing the molds, you're mostly looking at the faces. Or not comparing the molds, comparing the dolls of the mold. Because there have been 3 of her doll so far, of her mold, and I have all 3 of them, so I can bring them all up once I'm done showing her. And a couple notes about this particular mold is the eyes are definitely bigger, and I believe they're about 2 millimeters bigger. So if you ever wanted to see Corinne with another eye color, because so far all her dolls have this dark brown pinwheel eye, you would probably have to get customs or take out her eyes and paint the eye chips. And I also believe she has a bigger head. And the reason I think that is because of the next doll I'm going to bring out, which is the Truly Me 124 Corinne mold doll. Because the Truly Me 124 I have, I rewigged because I originally bought her to, as I was mentioning when I was talking about Anna, I no longer, I when I got Jasmine, the Sonali mold Jasmine, I got her because I wanted the doll and I wasn't planning to ever put her in that outfit, the princess costume. So I was gonna put Jasmine, my doll, the limited edition Jasmine doll, into the outfit for Halloween, let's say. But then because it was this expensive, the Swarovski and the more expensive fabrics that they used for the limited edition doll, I decided I was gonna get another doll to customize into Jasmine and put her in that outfit, which is why I have Truly Me 124 Hellbringer right now. But because I've recently decided I'm not going to have any dolls as Disney dolls in my collection, I decided, you know what, I plan to sell off my Jasmine outfit too, the way I've been selling off my Tiana costumes, for example. And so I wanted to put her, so I'm still calling her Jasmine for now. I don't know if her character is going to change, but she's wearing the 111 wig because that's how I wanted to customize her to look a little bit more like Jasmine, because Jasmine has more hair than 124's wig, which was very, very flat, very straight, parted down the side. This is also a side parted wig, but I just turned it to the middle part. And when I went to glue it down to her head, this is what I was trying to get at with saying her head, I think her head's bigger, because when I went to glue this wig on her head, I couldn't get it to come all the way down to the base. I really had to stretch it. And it wasn't that the wig was damaged. So I just think that the wig is too small for her, even though it obviously fit this from the Jess mold, 111. And so 111 is wearing her wig, no problem. It doesn't feel like it's too big. It's just that I really struggled to get this on. I still feel like it looks, if you know where to look, it just looks a little funny. And I put her in the Southwest outfit that came out really recently. You may see some gold glitter still left on her eyes. I'm slowly removing it, but you have to be careful when you're removing, because I painted her eyes to give her that like Disney limited edition, that extra paint that they give them. And I recently unboxed this outfit on a video, and I paired it with, because this come with those leopard print, custom, perhaps snake boots. I'm not too sure. They have like an animal print look to them. And I love the boots, but I don't love how it looked with the outfit. So I tried the cowboy, they're like holographic pink purple, and it was a little bit too much. I liked it, but it was a little bit too much. So I thought I would use the cowboy chic boots, which are actually a really good match, because if you see here, it's got this magenta braid, and that ties together with the orange braided headband. So it's like the same, if you look at it, it's the same design, but a different color. And the color brings together the magentas and the oranges of her sunset color scheme of the outfit. So I'm really satisfied with how the outfit looks now. And I'm not necessarily saying it's for her, but I wanted to get her out of the Jasmine outfit to do this video. So she's one of the dolls I just changed for the sake of the video, because like I said, no more Disney dolls in my collection. The dolls, yes. The characters, no. And speaking of that, the last doll I have to show for the Corinne collection is obviously Moana. And I did, before I bring her up, I mean, I've already shown her on here. I unboxed her on here and redressed her. But one thing I wanted to say is, when I was uploading that video, I was really nervous to do so, because when I did the unboxing video for Rapunzel and Cinderella, the American Girl Disney dolls, and I redressed them as well. I bought them to redress them. The video was, I mean, people weren't mean in the comments or anything, but I got a lot of dislikes. So I was like, oh, I can see how people could be very protective of the princesses having their iconic look. So I think it might have kind of bugged people that I bought them to make them other dolls. Moana, on the other hand, I was expecting there to be a little bit of like, backlash is a bit of a dramatic word, but I was expecting there to be a bit more, just like negative feelings about my Moana doll, who I've named Rosanda. But everybody was so super positive and supportive, and I really appreciate it. I'm like, because the doll has like a personal, I mean, all my dolls have a personal feeling, but because I based her around one of my favorite singers when I was a kid, my girl crush when I was a child, but like 11, 12. So not really preteen, early teen. And so I meant, like, meant a lot to me, as in like I didn't want people to call her ugly or say like, why are you putting her in that ugly outfit, because I'm so obsessed with how she looks. And I had to settle her in a little bit, right? Because when you dress your dolls on camera, you can, you can't really finesse it. You don't want to sit there for 5 minutes messing with her hair and making sure everything's sitting just right, because when I first tucked these, for example, into her boots, it looked kind of funny when I was like, when I put more thought into her after, I was like, oh, it's too bad I didn't realize how she looked, because you're just so excited talking. And so she's wearing, in case anybody sees this who didn't see that, she's wearing the Pleasant Company Girl of Today outfit, the artist, I think it's called the artist smock outfit. So it comes with this top, these overalls that I have her, they're just like hanging down. And I think it usually comes with like a greenish yellow top, but the person I bought the set from didn't have the original top. So she threw this in just to say, here, there's a top for you anyway. And it, ties the colors together. It's very, I don't even think I said who she's based on. I just said Rosanda, Chili from TLC. It's like, I can't help but feel like because everybody was so positive about me showing her last time. I'm like, everybody's seen her, so there's nobody who's going to see her for the first time. But it's Chili from TLC, but not I'm naming her or styling her after that. But she's not actually supposed to be Chili from TLC. That's why I gave her Chili's real name, Rosanda. And I don't know if I was clear when I said that last time, because I'm always, my mouth's moving, but my brain's not really. And so here, it's like I keep just look at her over and over again because she's so cute. And I like. I know she's new, but I think even if she weren't new, and when she's no longer new, she's still going to be at the very top of my list of favorite dolls. And even if I think anybody who gets Moana has her or will get her, because I know she hasn't finished shipping yet, will love her. She is absolutely one of the best dolls. Putting the Corinne mold in this skin tone with this beautiful wig was something I never would have expected. I never would have thought of it. I never would have even wanted it to happen, because I just never would have thought it would. But it has really, I always liked the Corinne dolls, more so Corinne than this doll, but now that I've taken her out of being Jasmine, I like her even more, being her own doll. But seeing her with such variation, the way this doll looks so different, really makes me love the mold that much more. And now if I did a mold ranking, it might change because of this doll here. And so, yeah, I think I also collected dolls before. I some people do feel funny about seeing dolls sort of being representations of different, let's say, races or ethnicities, like changing them so drastically. But I come from a doll collecting world, Integrity Toys, where they do that all the time, so I'm very used to it. And it makes you, for me, it just makes you appreciate the beauty in each sculpt and how there's so much versatility to it. So yeah, I just want to thank everyone again for being so positive about her and allowing me to talk about her for so long again, because I've had time to sit with her and like finesse her, just her up a little bit, and I will probably change her a lot. But I have to. This has to get its mileage first, if you know what I mean. This particular outfit here, and normally I would do a group shot of the dolls all together, but I think the problem with that is, I'll do that for the thumbnail, let's say, because if I did that now, it would just be, I'd rather keep, because like I said, there are 3 different molds, but not a lot of dolls for 2 of the molds, that it'll just make it look like I prefer, the Joss mold, which I do. But yeah, let me just end it here. And I obviously only have one more video left to this series, as I would want to call it. And that's the Claudie mold dolls, which I didn't think I was originally going to do as part of this collection of videos, because I already did a Claudie video when I very, very early on in my channel. So maybe like 8 months ago now. But I have since, aside from those 10 Claudie dolls, I have bought so many of the Tiana and Pink Stardust dolls that it really does need to have its own video. And at the time I'm recording this, it's Cyber Monday, and they put the Disney dolls on sale again, 30% off this time. And last time I opened a Tiana doll, unboxed a Tiana doll here, I said she was my last one, but I winked at the camera. And I don't need to go into all this, but I'm excited because I bought another one today, because if I didn't buy a Tiana doll at 30% off, that would be me wasting money. That would be like throwing away $40. So yeah, my Claudie mold video, which will be coming next, is going to be a lot. So aside from that video and finishing off this collection of videos, I will see you soon in the next one.